I caught my husband cheating with my best work friend, so me and her husband destroyed them. I never thought I'd be the kind of person to share a story like this, but here I am. This is the story of how I caught my husband, Carl, cheating on me with my best work friend, Jennifer, and how Jennifer's husband, Adam, and I got our sweet revenge. Jennifer and I worked together as cashiers at a locally owned grocery store. We had been friends for years, and I thought I knew her inside out. We spent hours on end working side by side, laughing and sharing our lives with each other. Little did I know, she was hiding a dirty secret. Carl, my husband, was the assistant manager of the store. I had introduced him to Jennifer when she started working with us, and I felt proud of the friendly atmosphere we had all created. But I guess you can never be too sure of what's really going on behind your back. The fateful day began like any other. Carl left for work early, and I was getting ready to leave for my shift. I decided to quickly check my Facebook on our home PC before I left, and that's when I noticed that Carl had forgotten to log out of his Facebook Messenger. A message from Jennifer caught my eye. It read, "You looked so good in your shirt the other day, I couldn't help but stare." My heart dropped into my stomach, and I felt the blood drain from my face. I hesitated for a moment, but curiosity got the best of me. I clicked on their conversation and read through their flirtatious messages. Although nothing too risque was said, it was evident that there was something going on between them. I felt betrayed, devastated, and so angry. I knew I needed to do something, but I didn't want to confront them without proof or a plan. That's when I remembered Jennifer's husband, Adam. He deserved to know what was happening, too. So I took a deep breath and called him. When Adam answered the phone, I could hear the confusion in his voice. I explained what I had discovered and sent him screenshots of the messages. He was furious, and I could practically feel the heat radiating from his anger through the phone. He wanted to confront them immediately, but I convinced him that we needed to take a different approach. We couldn't let them off the hook that easily. They needed to face the consequences of their actions and to suffer as much or even more than we were. So together, Adam and I devised a plan to catch them in the act and expose their affair to the world. We quickly figured out that they must be having their affair in the store's office when they were the only two closing up. So Adam ordered a wireless pen camera and I would hide it in the store's office, where Carl and Jennifer would often spend time alone doing their store closing procedures. I checked the schedules and sure enough, they would be closing together just a few days later. I think if we would have had to wait too long, we would have broken and just ended things, but since it was so close, we were able to hold on. The day finally came. I felt a mix of emotions, anger, sadness, and a sense of satisfaction knowing that they would soon get what they deserved. I got to the store early and managed to discreetly place the camera in the office. I worked my shift and walked out the door, leaving Jennifer and Carl behind, knowing what was about to happen just hours later. I will admit, when I got in my car, I burst into tears. The days of knowing and waiting were weighing heavily on my heart and I couldn't hardly take it any longer. However, after I cried myself into dehydration, I turned that sadness into a burning anger. Tonight they would get it in a really bad way and I was ready for it. Adam and I met at an empty parking lot a few blocks away from the store. We decided to ride together so that it would be easier for us to leave together and we could keep each other safe. 8 o'clock finally got there and the doors were locked. We drove to the back of the store and logged into the camera feed on my phone. Sure enough, a few minutes later, Carl and Jennifer entered the office, not knowing that their every move was being recorded. Adam started the live stream by videoing the screen on my phone, which was playing the live footage from the hidden camera. The comments and reactions on the video began pouring in, and I knew that our plan was working. People were asking what was going on. It didn't take long for them to know, as they continued, and their illicit activities were finally undeniable, if you know what I mean. Adam and I positioned ourselves outside the back door of the store. Our hearts were pounding with anticipation, but we knew that we couldn't back down now. A few minutes later, they opened the back door. They looked super nervous and confused when they saw us there together. Adam, with his live stream still going, turned his phone towards them and asked them how their shift went and if anything exciting had happened. They didn't know what to say, so they tried to stammer out a few words and then asked Adam what he was doing with his phone pointed at them. He completely ignored them, so I jumped in and asked them if the evening had been a success. It was such an awkward question, but that is what I wanted. Awkward. They answered just as awkwardly as I had asked the question. Adam then asked them if it all ended as well as they had hoped. That is when they finally started realizing what was going on. That is when I turned my phone towards them and showed them the live feed from the office. I said, "We've been watching this live feed for the last 45 minutes. What do you think we saw?" Carl started demanding that Adam put his phone down so they could talk without a camera on. Adam just kept asking why it was a big deal if he had his camera on. Jennifer was frozen in fear and would not look at either of us. She started to walk to her car, but I cut her off and said, "No bitch, you ain't going anywhere." Adam and Carl were arguing and I could tell Adam was about to beat his ass, so I said, "Adam, tell them now." So Adam took a breath and tried to calm down, but I could tell he was struggling. So I jumped in and said, "Check your phones. Adam has been live streaming this camera feed on Facebook the whole time. We tagged you in the stream." "Yeah, that's right. Everyone knows." Carl and Jennifer stuttered and stammered, clearly humiliated and exposed. With each word they spoke, I could see their world crumbling around them. I couldn't help but feel a twinge of satisfaction, knowing that they were finally facing the consequences of their actions. But we weren't done yet. As the live feed continued, Adam and I served them both with divorce papers. Their faces turned even more pale as we stuffed the papers in their hands and watched them as they each walked to their cars and left the parking lot. Live stream still going. We ended with a public service announcement. Our apologies if the truth of this situation has somehow offended any of you, but the truth is, we are offended and thought everyone should know the truth. Let this be a lesson not only to them, but to anyone else. If you're going to cheat, you'd better be prepared to face the consequences. The video quickly went viral in our little town, and the public humiliation that Carl and Jennifer experienced was extreme. They were both fired from their jobs the very next day, as was I. However, as it turns out, the next day our store got a lot of phone calls from people who supported me and my actions. They demanded to know if Jennifer and Carl had been fired and told them that I needed a promotion. Some people even said that they weren't going to shop there if Carl and Jennifer weren't fired. So by the end of the day, and after a long conversation with our general manager, I was given my job back and was even promoted to assistant manager, taking over Carl's position. It felt like a fitting end to this chapter of my life. Adam and I continued to keep in touch, offering each other support as we navigated the aftermath of our spouse's betrayal. We would meet up for coffee now and then to talk about our lives and how we were moving forward. It was a strange sort of friendship born from a shared pain, but it was comforting to have someone who understood what I was going through. In the end, I'm proud of the actions Adam and I took to expose Carl and Jennifer's affair. It's true that two wrongs don't make a right, but why should Adam and I have been the only ones to suffer? By making their betrayal public, they faced the consequences of their actions in a way that they never could have if we had simply divorced them quietly. Of course, I wish that none of this had ever happened. Some days I almost wish that I could have continued to live my life blissfully unaware of the dark secrets that were unfolding behind my back. But that wasn't the hand I was dealt, and I had to make the best of a terrible situation. So, to anyone who might find themselves in a similar situation, I say this: trust your gut, stand up for yourself, and don't be afraid to expose the truth. It might be painful, and it might be messy, but in the end, you'll be stronger for it. And perhaps, like me, you'll find a new friend in the ashes of your old life, someone who understands your pain and can help you move forward into a brighter future. And as for Carl and Jennifer, I hope they've learned their lesson, and that they'll think twice before ever betraying someone's trust again. Double whammy for Carl and Jennifer. Well, how do you think she did? Let us know what you would have done in the comments below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.